Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the second session of Reducing the Rage. I hope you all enjoyed the first video. At the moment, I think it has about 120 views, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't seen the first video yet, don't worry about it. You can still follow this session, but I do recommend that you kind of watch it at some point at your own time, just to get like the whole picture, if that makes sense. I will start with a recap anyway in a minute, so you can still get kind of the gist of it. All right, I got, as usual, my script in here, and I got my water as well, so I will be drinking. And please, since I'm doing this in one take, please bear with me if I do make mistakes. All right, so as usual, I'm just going to start by telling you how I'm feeling today, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being crap, 10 being out of the world. Well, I feel a 6, probably a 7. Obviously, it's a hard situation that we're living at the moment, so a little bit of up and down, but I was really looking forward to record this video, so that keeps me going a little bit, gives me a little bit of a purpose as well. So yeah, I'm good, and I hope I'll get through this video in one piece. So now let's go on. So let's start. Every session we're gonna start with a quick. Where am I? Here, right? Every session we're gonna start with a quick recap of the session before. All right, just to give you a little bit once again a little bit of a recap, and yeah, just to start off with the right foot there. So last week we went through. We gave a definition of what is anger. So if you remember, anger is a normal emotion. So it's a normal, healthy emotion that we all feel, and it's important not to repress your anger, but learn how to express it in kind of a healthier way. Yeah. Then, if you remember, I did draw the best brain picture ever. Beautiful. I'm still so happy about it. And then we discovered then in the brain, in the temporal lobe, which is here at the back inside, there is a little bit of a brain mass, which is called amygdala. Now, what does the amygdala do? The amygdala control our emotional response. So if you are ever in a situation in which our emotions are triggered, the amygdala will give us a response to that. All right, so if you're feeling fear or anger, for example, and that led us to our F responses. So we got fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and flop. So most people obviously know fight and flight. So basically, if you are, once again, in a threatened situation, in a situation in which your amygdala will start and give you the response, you're either going to go in one of these. So you're either going to fight, so go for it. There you go. Flight, so leave the situation. Freeze, actually freeze. And then we got the two kind of newish one, which is fawn, which is attachment, love. We did the example of the Stockholm syndrome last time, which is if someone gets kidnapped, for example, and they live with the kidnapper for a long time, they might eventually fall in love with them, and that's when they're phoning, right? And then flop, which will be completely passing out, playing dead, for example. So the important things about this response to the amygdala is to figure out that we don't choose what response we get into, but the amygdala chooses that for us. All right, so if you're ever feeling guilty, if you're ever feeling that we haven't done the right thing at the right time, please don't beat yourself up too much, because it wasn't you didn't get to choose. All right, another thing that we discovered was the amygdala. When we get into these kind of responses, the amygdala will pump out two hormones, which are adrenaline, and then the other one, my enemy, is cortisol. Sorry for my writing here, but here. So adrenaline will be the hormone that makes us feel so powerful. So if, for example, if we're going into a fight response, right, and we feel so strong that we take on anyone, That's the adrenaline there, right? And then the cortisol, it's our stress hormone, right? I did mention last time as well that you kind of don't want to live with loads of cortisol in your body all the time, because that will have an impact on your physical health as well. So I was mentioning about remembering how the breathing exercise, your mindfulness exercises, for example, or the famous thing, remove yourself from the situation, my mantra for this course. So just bear that in mind when you're starting to feel really, really stressed. Remember that cortisol is kind of poisoning you at that time. Yeah, and then we found out the difference between anger and aggression. So once again, anger is the emotion. It's a healthy feeling that we experience, right? And then the aggression is the behavior. Now, I'm sure I'm writing too small. I'm so sorry, but this is behavior. That's what I wrote there. So, for example, you can be angry, but you don't have to be aggressive. So, kind of what behavior we choose could be one of our problems, and one of the things that we might want to start and think about and change a little bit, all right? Then we went through the different kind of aggressions as well, which was outward, inward, and passive aggressive. And I did give you a little bit of a homework. I don't know if you guys have done it. If you haven't, don't worry. And just to kind of figure it out how you usually express your anger. So outward would be something that you and someone else can see or hear, right? So shouting, throwing things, physical violence, right? Inward will be something that no one else can see other than yourself, and that could be self-sabotage, toxic talk to yourself, right? Self-loathe, no self-care, for example. And then the last one would be passive-aggressive, which actually the definition would be when you do something in order for someone else to feel bad, all right? And sometimes sarcasm, it's kind of the go-to for passive aggression. Now, sarcasm could be a funny thing as well, but it depends. If you're using that sarcasm in order to hurt someone else, then you're being passive aggressive, all right? So at the moment, it's all about like learning a little bit more about ourselves and how we express our anger. And then the last thing we did last time was just kind of touching on the positive role of anger and why it's important to express your anger. So, for example, anger motivates us. So if we feel that something is wrong, I don't know, in politics, for example, we will protest it. We'll try and make it change. Or, we don't feel shame when we feel anger, right? And it is something that we'll go through shame today as well. So see how shame, what kind of emotion is shame as well. But when we feel angry, we don't feel that emotion. And as well, sometimes we do go and feel hunger because we don't want to feel something else. And this will be something that we'll be discussing in the next few weeks as well, a little bit more in that, all right? So yeah, there is loads of positive for anger. I mean, it keeps us alive, the F responses that we were talking about before. At the end of the day, they're there to keep us alive. So that's why it's so important that when we do feel angry, and there is a good reason to feel angry, when the anger is justified, that we express it so that we can defend ourselves in a way as well. All right? These as well, we will go a little bit more in depth in the next few weeks. All right? So once again, guys, sorry if I leave. Once again, guys, if you do have any questions or any comment, please feel free to write them below. And I'm going to move the flip chart. That's another thing that I do. If this is the first time seeing my videos, I do move the flip chart a little bit, then I throw them on the floor, and then I got the new one. Now, let's start with our second session. Now, we got a sip of water as well before we start. There we go. Is that all right? Yeah, perfect. So you see I've made bigger flip charts this time. Less writing on. And so that you guys can see it and I'm less stressed about it as well. So today we're going to start by talking about our senses. So once again, I'm just going to go here so you can really read. There you go. So this is actually a very funny part when we do it in college, because once again I try and kind of let them guess, because you might gonna see the 5 senses up there. Yeah. So we got the usual senses, which are sight, smell, ear, taste, and touch. Everybody knows them. And then I will ask the students, so like, oh, well, there's a few more. Do you know them? Do you know how many there is? And obviously they wouldn't, most of the people wouldn't know them. I didn't know them before taking this course, right? And then we try and act them. Now I will not act them for you guys today. Sorry. But I will tell you what it is. So our senses, we got this time. We got the usual 5, yeah, sight, smell, hear, taste, and touch. And then 3 more. Right. They all have fancy names. So first one is called interoception. And what this is, right, I will act that a little bit. So it's like, I'm touching my belly, you can't see that. I'm angry. Or, I need the toilet. And people will laugh at that point. Hopefully you're laughing at home at me. Interoception is basically your gut feeling, all right? Which can be exactly what I kind of acted before. So knowing the difference between being like, I want to eat, or I need the toilet. That's one of the things that interoception does. Or just literally your gut feeling that say, oh, I should do that, or maybe I shouldn't do that, and so on and so on. All right, so pretty important one, right? Now we got vestibular. I will not act that. Vestibular is your sense of balance. Yeah. And it comes from the word vestibule, which is a little thing that we have in our ear, and that helps us with our balance, all right? And then the last one, it's called proprioception, all right? I don't know who gave this name to these senses, to be honest, but yeah, proprioception. So proprioception is the sense of your limbs in space and time, all right? So the sense of your limbs, like knowing where your arms are, where your legs are, for example. And I'll give you a good example in a second of your limbs in space and times, yeah? So a good way to figure out how is your proprioception is if you close your eyes and touch your nose. I'm going to do it. Close my eyes, touch my nose. There we go. So that means my proprioception is on point because I know where my nose is without looking at it, all right? Now, why am I going through this very interesting topic? That is because, I'm going to change this, yeah. That is because, when we were talking about your F responses, right? So when you are in a fight or flight response, your senses will kind of change, all right? So they will either go hypo or hyper, all right? So hypo means low and hyper means high, yeah? So I'm gonna give you an example of every sense, all right? And then there will be some of your homework as well, just to think about, and reflect a little bit on when you do go into your F response, when you do even feel just hungry, how does your senses change, if they do at all? So remember, hypo is low and hyper is high, yeah? So we're gonna go one by one, starting with the more kind of common senses. I'm gonna have to take my notes here. There we go. So, your sight, right? Yeah, how you look. When that goes hypo, I'm just going to do one example for each, but there is probably much more, and maybe your example don't apply, they don't go on, I don't mention your examples, but please, if you have your examples, just let me know below in the comments, because it's really interesting. So your sight, I usually mention something called tunnel vision. So I don't know if you ever experienced that. So when your sight goes down, goes low, it's like, horses when they wear like those things. I don't know the English for that. Yeah, and they can only see like straight. That would be a tunnel vision. So tunnel vision is when you kind of can't see the whole picture and you only look at certain things. Yeah, and that would be your hypo. Then your hyper, it would be actually the complete opposite. And it will be like when you become hypervigilant, for example. So you look at everything. Wow, my handwriting is just fantastic. That's hypervigilant, by the way. So you will look at everything. You just see every details of everything that is going around you. And in an F response, for example, if you're in a threatening situation, this is actually really, really good because you become hypervigilant. You know you're in a bad situation, so you kind of look for everything, any means for escape, any weapons that you could find, or anything at all. So very, very important. Yeah. Now let's go into the next one, which will be your hearing, I guess. Right, when that goes hypo, that could actually really happen that you can't hear properly at all. Or also what could happen is that you will get like some kind of ringing in your ear. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. I have, definitely. And you just can't hear properly, all right? And then when your hearing goes hyper, it's kind of, once again, the opposite. So you hear everything. Like you kind of over hear. I don't know. You go on the bus, right? And you'll experience you're anxious or whatever, and something is not right with yourself at that time. And you go in one of like amygdala is pumping these hormones, and you start to hear everything on the bus, people chewing, near to you, the music from someone else's headphones and all those things. That's because your hearing is going hyper. And that could be really annoying, and you could get very annoyed at people as well. And that happens to me as well. I do tend to get very annoyed at people when my hearing goes hyper and I hear everything. So then next we got taste. So with the taste, it's kind of pretty straightforward. So with the hypo, you would be actually struggling to taste, so you wouldn't taste anything, right? So just say I'll put struggling here, yeah? And then when it goes hyper, that's kind of what happens to me. It used to happen a lot. I used to get this kind of metallic taste in my mouth, right? Kind of like if I had blood in my mouth, all right? So once again, this is my own personal kind of experience, but think about your own and think about when your taste, for example, goes hyper, what can happen? Maybe you're more sensitive to certain foods than to others, for example. Maybe you don't like certain foods anymore. So, but for me, it's definitely this metallic taste. There we go. Then next we got touch. Let me have a look. Oh, okay. So when your sense of touch goes hypo, you might want to find yourself wanting like to wrap yourself in a blanket, or you want to cuddle. So you want to feel kind of something again. So I will just put cuddles, yeah. And then when your sense of touch goes hyper, you don't want to get touch, mate. No, because even a little touch, it makes you woof. It's too much, so you become hypersensitive to touch. And yeah, I'll just write hypersensitive here, some way. And or for example, also I got my notes, you might gonna feel pain more as well. So for me, it was really well, I have some tattoos, right, and kind of a lot. And depending on which kind of mind state I was, the tattoo would be more painful or less painful. It's really very interesting. So yeah, just think about it with your own examples. Once again, this is about knowing each other a little bit better, knowing ourselves, sorry, a little bit better. So last one of this section will be smell. So kind of straightforward as well with smell. So when your smell goes hypo, oh, I was gone. When your smell goes hypo, you can't really smell anything. Yeah. Or you might even feel, that the smells are irrelevant. So it's kind of interesting if you think about it. And then, so can't smell. I'll just put can't smell. And then when your smell goes hyper, there you go, it's pretty much the opposite. So you will smell everything. Like, it's just pretty much similar as hearing, for example. You know, when your hearing goes hyper, you hear everything. When your smell goes hyper, you smell anything, anything. And once again, some smells might gonna really annoy you, but some smells, they're gonna kind of take you back, and they're gonna be like from past memories. So it's kind of quite beautiful as well. So I'm just gonna write here, then smell everything. Yeah. So we got this one done. So this one was kind of the easy part of it, because they're kind of pretty straightforward, to be fair. Now we're gonna go and figure out for the three kind of newish senses what happened with those. There we go. Look at my flip chart, so big. I'm so happy. Very good. Right. So, lost everything. Sorry guys, I lost a few things. Now, right, let's remember interoception, yeah, our gut feeling, yeah. So, what happens when our gut feeling goes low? So, it's kind of almost dangerous in a way, because it's like you can't feel anything, yeah. And it can also give you things, a little bit physical reaction, like nausea, for example. But really, if this goes low, it's a matter of you just can't feel nothing. It's like kind of you're empty inside. And then if your interoception goes hyper, it's kind of the opposite. You feel like everything, you know, and you feel like you got like the sixth sense or something, you know. But the important thing to remember is that your gut feeling can get it wrong. Just like the amygdala we were saying last week, your gut feeling can get it very wrong. So, example, your interoception is hyper, obviously, and you just feel that something bad is gonna happen. If you take the bus, something bad is gonna happen. You can't take the bus. If you walk, you can't walk because something bad is gonna happen, so you have to stay home. There you go, for example. And that's because your gut feeling is so hyper that it makes you kind of dictate what your brain is gonna think. So it's kind of dangerous, to be honest. If your interoception is a little bit not on point, it's kind of upsetting, I would say. Let's say that. So I'm just gonna write here. Sorry, I'm just looking at. Can get it wrong? Yeah, remember that. Or I don't know, if you think about, like, if your gut feeling is hyper, if your gut feeling is hyper, you just say, oh my god, I feel so lucky, I will definitely win the lottery this week, and you just keep buying tickets and tickets and tickets on top of each other, you know what I mean, and spending loads of money and don't win the lottery at the end, yeah? So that can have a big impact on your actual life. There is a little fly in here that is going on my face, but anyway. The next one will be your vestibular, which is your balance, yeah? So, when your vestibular goes hypo, so that's low, this is kind of very interesting. Well, I had to research it before when I was doing the course at college, because I didn't come out with anything about hypo and hyper with vestibular. And then when I did research it, I actually found out that it was the opposite that I was thinking, and you're going to find out why now. So basically, when your vestibular is hypo, you have, right? So your vestibular is slow, right? So your sense of balance, your sense of gravitational kind of thingy, it's low. You actually feel an increased desire for movement, all right? And you have an increased tolerance for movement as well. So it kind of, you're chasing, you know, that balance and the movement. So it's kind of very interesting, because I would have thought that this was going to go on the hyper side, but not. So increased desire for movement. Tolerance for movement as well. So then when your vestibular goes hyper, so it's really high, yeah, your sense of balance so high, sense of movement so high, it's the opposite of this. So you will have intolerance to movement, and you will also have something called gravitational insecurity. What a big word. So intolerance for movement. And to understand the gravitational insecurity, movement, it's like when children don't want to get picked up. They don't want to get like, yeah, hoo-hoo, jumping up and down. No, that's because their vestibular is really hyper, so they kind of want to be grounded, all right? That's pretty interesting. And yeah, think about, for your own examples as well, and this might gonna make you think a little bit more in the future. Gravitational, that's not how you spell gravitation, but you can't really see it. Okay. Insecurity. Lovely. And then the last one would be our lovely proprioception, which is the sense of limbs. Yeah, remember, close your eyes, touch your nose. Sense of limbs in space and time, yeah? So when your proprioception goes hypo, you will start and have some kind of coordination problems, and you might gonna even be clumsy. I don't know, have you ever tried and went to pick up a cup, for example, and you just miss it, and then smashed it or something? Things like that. That's your proprioception. When it goes low, you might gonna find, I'm just gonna write clumsy. Not in a bad way, yeah, I'm not being derogatory or anything, it's just the way it is, really. And then when your proprioception goes hyper, you will find yourself maybe sometimes walking and leaning against walls, for example, yeah, or you find yourself like twitching. When you twitch, like for example your leg, you can't just stop your leg. That's your proprioception being hyper. And also there is something called phantom limb. I don't know if you ever read about it or learned about it. So basically, if you do lose one of your limbs, right? Let's say I lose my arm, I still feel it's there, and that's because of my proprioception, all right? So I'll just say here, lean against walls, so you're kind of looking for, some kind of touch. So lean against the walls, yeah? Lovely, yeah? So I think it is a lot of information, especially if you hear these things for the first time. So once again, this being a video, if you do feel just listen to it again, or you can even go online, and research a little bit more these new senses and how being on F responses and then the significant changes that happen into our senses to affect our day-to-day life as well. All right, I'm just gonna have a sip of water, and then I'm gonna change the flip chart, and we're gonna move on to our next topic. Right. Now, the next topic is not easy. I'm telling you straight. Oh, look. Hold on. Haha. Sorry, before our next topic, my flip chart has reminded me that I've got to give you some homework or something to think about. So, as I was saying before, basically everybody has their own sensory profile. So things that they like about their sense better than others. For example, my sense of smell is not really good, so I'm not bothered about it. But my sense of taste, well, if I didn't smoke, it would be even better. But for example, my sense of taste is really kind of important to me, if that makes sense. So what I would like you to do is thinking about your own sensory profile. So what do you like? I don't know, do you have a favorite blanket, for example? And that would be your touch. And yeah, think about your own, and what you can do as well. You can create your sensory box, which is a box. And then you just put things in there. For example, I don't know, you can put candles that you like to burn, or you can put some little bells, or some CDs of music that you really, really like, Or once again, if you have your favorite blanket, for example, or you can buy and get yourself one of those fidgeting cubes. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's just like a little cube, and every side of it is like something that you can like turn or you can click, and that will be for your proprioception as well a little bit. So yeah, your own time, just start and think about it. Once again, this is just to getting to know ourselves a little bit better. Yeah, perfect. So again, if you do want to share in the comments, please do. I will read them. Thank you. Now we're going on to again the next topic. She's a pretty much blank flip chart here because I don't want to give too much away yet. So shames versus guilt. Hi, bear with me. I'm just getting my notes. There we go. Now, so this is kind of a uncomfortable topic. Let's call it like that. And that is because many people, including me, before doing this course, many people don't know the difference between shame and guilt, right? And when I do explain the difference, then people do tend to get a little bit upset. Because sometimes we have accepted things have happened in our lives, right? Like, for example, next week we'll go through trauma, right? And people tend to be a little bit more rational when they talk about trauma, when they hear about trauma, right? Because maybe they've come to accept a little bit better. But when it comes to shame and guilt, to shame especially, it's a little bit of a more uncomfortable topic. Let's just say that. So please, if when I'm talking about this, if you're feeling not really good, just pause the video, get yourself a little piece of chocolate, get yourself a bath, get yourself a cup of tea, watch something on TV, whatever, and then come back. But I do recommend you do come back and listen to what's shame and what's guilt, because it's sometimes one of those breakthrough moments. All right, it was definitely for me. So, all right then. So usually I will start and ask the class, what's the difference between shame and guilt? All right. And usually what happens is that people give me examples, okay? And they're usually the other way around, or they're all kind of on the shame side, all right? But we're not going to do that obviously now. But what we're going to do, I will give you the definitions straight away. We're straight in with the definitions. And I will start with guilt. And that's because guilt is kind of the easier one and the more positive one. So a very easy way to understand what guilt is just saying, I did. I will read you. So I did, yeah. I'm going to read you the actual definition that I got here. So guilt is a positive emotion, right? So remember that it's a positive emotion. And this emotion makes us feel bad for performing an indiscretion, an omission, or an action which is not in line with our code, all right, and with our values. We will go through values next week a little bit more. But yeah, so basically, you do something which is not in line with your values, with your moral code, right, or with the law even. You do something, and then what you feel is guilt because you realize that thing that you did was not the right thing. I don't know, for example, I shoplift. It's not true, I don't. I shoplift. Then I go home and I look at the things that I've shoplifted and I feel a piece of shit. Sorry for the swear word. So that would be my guilt, all right? Sorry. So that would be my guilt making me feel like that and saying, what have you done? Why have you done that? You're not like that. You don't need to shoplift. Why have you done that? So remember, yeah, positive emotion. And the most important thing about guilt is that when we do feel guilt, we then want to do something about it. All right? Example again, after I shoplift, I feel terrible. Yeah, I feel so much guilt inside. and I take all the things I've shoplifted back to the shop, and I apologize, and then they call the police, and I don't know, pay a fine or whatever that is. Yeah. So me taking the things that I've stolen back to the shop and actually try and make mend, that's a great thing, because we're all human, guys, and we all make mistakes, yeah. But it's how you react afterwards, yeah. So guilt will make you move, yeah. Guilt will make a change, all right, and it's usually a positive change, unless you make the same mistakes again. But hey, hopefully you won't. So yeah, let me just have a look. Yeah, positive behavior change. Yeah, I'm just gonna write here, make a change. Yeah, so that's great. So next time you feel guilt, yeah, next time you feel you've done something that wasn't right, and you're feeling terrible, that is good. That is good. Something good is happening within you, and remember, you can put it right. Yeah. Now, we're going to talk about shame, all right? So if guilt is I did, shame, I'm just going to tell you, is I am, right? So I am worthless. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I am stupid. I'm not a good person. And we can go on and on and on and on. Yeah, fill in the blankets. So the thing about shame is that shame is a toxic emotion. Yeah, please remember that. And we all feel shame, yeah? You cannot not feel shame. It's impossible, all right? And we all have different reasons why we feel shame, yeah? But we all experience that. Now, it's a toxic emotion. And I also like to call it a cancer of emotion, because it eats you from inside, you know? I'm sure you all have felt that way in your lifetime, you know. You always felt like, because you were feeling so shame about something, yeah, or about just about yourself, for example, it just eats you alive, doesn't it? And the thing is about shame is, most of the time, it's something that's been put upon us. I'm thinking about, I don't know, a child, you know, when the child grows up, the mother will keep telling you, you're not good enough, you're stupid, look at your grades, I don't know, things like that. So when you grow up, you will always carry that shame with you. And that's why, you see, with guilt, you do something wrong, you can make it right, yeah? So you can get rid of that guilt. With shame, you can't get rid of shame. No, getting rid of. And this is kind of the turning point. And this is when kind of I cry, people cry, you know, when there is kind of the breakthrough a little bit, because there is just no getting rid of shame. And that is it. So it can be really daunting, you know, when I break the news and I'm like, oh no, guys, like, you're always gonna feel that shame inside of you, but there is a silver lining, all right? You might not gonna be able to get rid of it, like you get rid of guilt, yeah? By making it right, you get rid of guilt until next time you do something wrong. But with shame, again, you don't get rid of it, but you can manage it, all right? And how can you manage it? By practicing self-compassion, yeah? So be kind to yourself, you know, be kind to yourself a little bit, and by also, by believing in yourself, so try and boost your self-esteem as well. So, I don't know, once again, if my mom was telling me I was stupid when I was growing up, then I prove it wrong, you know, and I go to uni and I get the best jobs and whatever it is, you know. So trying and pump like my self-esteem up a little bit. And then the last thing you can do is checking the facts. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned checking the facts before in the first session, but checking the facts and remove yourself from the situation are the two most important things, and I'm gonna keep mentioning them every now and then. So by checking the facts, you are trying and rationalizing, checking the facts, yes, rationalizing a little bit, because again, this is such a toxic emotion, and once again, it just hits your life, and it doesn't make you think, you know, it's taking over kind of your rational side. So for example, if you do sit down, you know, in front of a piece of paper and then just write the facts about why you're feeling shame and maybe why you shouldn't feel shame, what have you done in order to feel that, or what you haven't done in order to feel that. Hopefully, it will kind of make it a little bit smaller. But you can make it smaller, but you can't get rid of it. I'll do one of my examples, all right? So the way I left my job a few years ago now, I had this great job, you know, and I loved it. I loved it, and I was really good at it. The way I left it was terrible. I wasn't well, so I was a little bit crazy, so I wasn't really well. So the shame of the way I left that job is still there, you know, but it's much smaller. Yeah. So I do still feel kind of regret, you know, and I shouldn't have done that. You know, in that case, that shame is actually correct because I was not right. I was horrible. So, but then there you go, I check the facts, you know, and then I say, oh, hold on, they weren't very nice to me either. I was really unwell. Da, 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 da. So to this day, I did some therapy to help me with that as well. To this day, I do still feel that shame if I think about it, but it's a little bit. So once again, if I do get into that mood again and I'm like, oh, for some reason something triggers me, you know, and I think about that, I once again try and straight away go straight for the facts, you know, and a little bit of pumping up my self-esteem. I have a new job now, I work for college, you know, I'm so much better now, etc., etc. So I don't know if you guys want to pause a little bit. I do feel like I want to pause a little bit now and go for to smoke or something. But I won't do that. But if you do want to have a little break after this, because I know that it's a little bit heavy, please feel free and come back. But we are going to move on now, also because what the last thing, and I promise it's the last thing for today, is actually a skill. And it's a very, very helpful skill. So I like to finish this session with this because once again, we go through this one, which is a little bit sad, you know, and then we finish on kind of a positive, if that makes sense. So I really hope you can't hear me when I drink. Right, I'm just going to change this. And there we go. So this is, again, it's a skill, really. And it's called, here I am, and it's called the window of tolerance, right? So I'm going to explain that to you. So everybody, and everybody's different, remember, yeah? Everybody has that tipping point. Let's call it like that, yeah? The tipping point. It's like you can get hungry a little bit more, but you're still all right. And then something, yeah, you go over a line, let's call it that, you get over the tipping point, and it's madness. So how I'm going to explain this to you, this is just an example, it's not my own window of tolerance, just an example. Let's say your tipping point is a 7 out of 10, yeah? So this is for you guys to, this will be another homework as well. This is for you to figure out what's your number? Where's your tipping point, all right? So from 0, so this is time, yeah? Like a day, could be a day or a few hours or whatever you want to make it. Let's call it a day though, yeah? So from 0 until 7, so in here, yeah? So this one is my window of tolerance, yeah? And then over 7 is tolerance. Over 7, I like to call it madness. You can call it how you like. So if I'm in here, if during my day, things will happen that will stress me, things will happen that will make me hungry, but as long as it stays from 0 to 7, I'm all right. I can do my breathing, for example. I can use some of the DBT skills, and the stop skill, the thinking, There is loads of things that you can do. If you get a little bit hungry, you can use some skills and then go back down, and living nice with no stress, all right? But let's make an example. So let's say I wake up, and let's say I wake up this morning and I'm already at 2. Because of this isolation coronavirus situation, I don't really wake up hungry, just in general, just because, yeah. So I'm already hungry here. So this is this morning. I wake up and I start as a 2. And then I'm just normal. And then I go and make myself coffee, right? And I drop the cup. My favorite cup. Whoa, there you go. I'm going up. Then I take a few deep breaths, it was just a cup, maybe I can fix it, so I start to go down again. Then I go and turn the hot water on. My boiler doesn't work. Whoa, that's it. My boiler doesn't work. I got no hot water, mate. I have to call my landlady. They see if they can fix it at these times. In the meantime, I'm like, well, I do have a kettle, so I can get hot water in the kettle. So I start to get better again. Then my boyfriend wakes up. And he's a bit of nauseous, he's cranky, and I don't like him. Then I'm going up a little bit. You can see we're already there. And then I go and I turn on my TV to watch my favorite show on record that was on Sky, and my Sky has fucked. My Sky doesn't work anymore. There you go. I'm out. So you can see it doesn't need to be just one thing that happens. It could be if you wake up and something really bad happens, you can go straight from 0 to 7. But usually, during the day, there is up and down, When you go over that window of tolerance, so we say it's 7. When I go over the 7 and get into madness, nothing works. Breathing, nothing works. Nothing. Chamomile tea, nothing works. It's just pure furiosity. I don't know if that word exists, but it's just pure madness. So, what do we do if, I think I need the other flip chart. I will use the other flip chart. Yes, I'm going to have to use the other flip chart because it's on the other one. So I'll show you back this in a minute. For now, just remember, yeah? So you got a window of tolerance, and then over that window of tolerance, you get madness. Now, a few things to take, and this is the last flip chart of the day, guys. Well done. So, oh my God. I got my flip chart is stuck to my foot. One sec. Oh no, it's gone. Hallelujah. Right, sorry guys. So a few things, yeah. I actually want to. One second. I'm freestyling it. I want to do like this. Yes, we're gonna need this again. So first thing to take. You can have multiple windows of tolerance, and remember, everybody's different, right? So, for example, I have about 3 windows of tolerance. So, if my mood is stable, I'm a healthy 5, 6, 7, you know what I mean? In the middle there, if I could get hungry, but it takes me some time. Let's say 7 to 8, yeah. Then, if I'm feeling really depressed, right, my window of tolerance is like 10. It's really high. And that's because I feel nothing. So nothing annoys me, nothing. It's just like no emotions whatsoever. So my window will be really, really high, yeah? If I'm manic, it's the opposite. My window of tolerance will be very, very low because, well, anything gets me. So in a minute, I will go, my window of tolerance is 1. So I wake up, like this morning, drop the cup. If I was being manic, yeah, I would have completely flipped straight away madness, all right? Because let's say if I'm on a 7 or an 8, I can still use breathing exercises, and you remove yourself from the situation and things like that. Now, you can see here 90 minutes. So remember what I was saying. So here in your window of tolerance, you can use your skills, right? In here, in your madness side of it, there is only one thing that you can do. Wait. You have to wait 90 minutes. Now, when you go over your window of tolerance, you remember our lovely amygdala. Yeah, amygdala is like, oh, emotional response. Yeah, anger. Blah. So the amygdala is pumping this adrenaline and cortisol, right? So it takes about 5 minutes for the cortisol and the adrenaline to fill up your body. For them to leave, it takes about 90 minutes. So what you should do, if you know, because now you know that I gave you the skill, if you know that you've crossed that line, so you've over your window of tolerance, what you have to do is remove yourself from the situation and wait by yourself for 90 minutes. Now, 90 minutes is it's a long time, and this is not really realistic. This is the scientific side of it, definitely, but it's not really realistic. What if you cross the line and you're at work? You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna have 90 minutes on my own. You can't do that. So you're gonna just have to kind of live with it all day, and everybody that will be around you will damn the day they were born and things like that. But also a good example is that let's say a mother and a child, they argue, right? And then the child has a proper temper, right? Temper tantrum, I think. And it gets sent, and it's gone over his window of tolerance, that child, yeah. And the mom says, now you go to your room. That's a good thing, very good thing to do. So the child now should have the 90 minutes on his own to get rid of all those bad hormones, and then go back into their window of tolerance, yeah. But then let's say yes, so the mom send him to his room, and then after about 20 minutes, half an hour, the mom goes in with a cup of tea, say, oh, how are you doing, darling? Is everything okay? Are you feeling a little bit better? No, it's not. So at that point, the 90 minutes go back to 0. Yeah, so it needs to be a full whole 90 minutes. Again, not very realistic, to be honest. So the idea of the window of tolerance is that you should know, your limits there, and you should use, you should use your skills before reaching your tolerance number. Yeah. So again, removing yourself from the situation sometimes is just the best thing to do. But breathing and correct breathing techniques, and mindfulness exercise. There are really some mindfulness exercises. Just take a few minutes. You can literally do them anywhere, even at work. You just go to the toilet and do them there, doing the thing, and have a little bit of discipline when trying, and what I mean, not letting your anger take over, and be realistic and say, oh, look, I'm getting really frustrated now. I know I'm getting over my window of tolerance. What can I do about it? Yeah. On the mindfulness note, there is a few videos here on YouTube, guys, from Sue, and then there is a few yoga as well videos. So I would recommend you do look into them as well, especially the Sue's video of the meditation. She's absolutely fantastic, and she'll teach you whilst doing them a few new skills as well, and you can use those exercises when trying to calm down a little bit from the madness, or before you reach the madness even. So yeah, and then share your window of tolerance as well. You can share it with your family, with your loved one, whoever lives with you, so that they know as well what's your limit. And please, guys, when you do the window of tolerance, please be honest. We all want to be in the healthy 7, 8, in the middle range there, but that's not realistic. Everybody's different, and if we are not honest with ourselves, we can't grow, you know, and we can't learn either. So for me, it was hard to say, oh, look, I've got 3 windows of tolerance, you know, they all changes all the time, da da da. It's not easy, isn't it? But that makes you, again, it makes you understand better about yourself, and hopefully you can live kind of a better life at the end. So, well, I think we are done for today. Sorry if I go. Here I am. So, homework, once again, we got the sensory box, sensory profile. That's just something that you think about, you know what I mean? I don't know, is there one of those Yankee candles that you love absolutely? Perfect. When you can, just get an extra one, and just put it in the box there. So maybe when you're feeling a little bit stressed, you can just, there you go, light it up and enjoy it. Yeah, things like that. So the sensory box and the sensory profile, it's just about you really, and what you like, what you dislike. Yeah. And then there would be the window of tolerance. I have another piece of paper here, which is kind of useless, but yeah, you just do it. I'll get the bigger one. Hold on. Just get it. Sorry. I'm in the way. Yeah, just get a piece of paper, you know. Just get a piece of paper and then one line here with the numbers. Oh my life, 1 sec. That's better. One line here with all the numbers, and that will be what's your number, after which number you are gonna go into madness, yeah? And then here, she's just time, isn't it? And then in a day, just think about it, or you can even use a day that you remember you got really, really angry, and just really think about what happened that day, yeah? Then find your number, find your window of tolerance, and share it, yeah? And then maybe once again look into exercises that you can do and skills that you can use in order to stay within these windows. All right, I think that's it, guys, for today. Yay! Once again, any questions or any comments, please do let me know, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really did. Next week is trauma. So next week we're gonna go through attachment style theory, which is kind of early life experiences and how do they influence our relationships, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard and I'm still learning that. Very interesting. Gonna go there, and then I'm just gonna talk about trauma. What is trauma? You know, I will finish with in a positive note. You know, on a positive note, talking about it, healing from trauma and things like that. But it's not very easy. I do try. Sorry, I don't cry. I do try and keep it kind of rational and even a little bit scientific. So I won't use like my examples, for example. I don't want to hear your examples in the comments either. But to be honest, the next one is my favorite session because it is just so interesting and it really makes you think, you know. So, well, I hope you're gonna come back, and it's probably gonna be next week. It's a Sunday today, so usually probably on a Sunday evening the videos will be up. But thank you once again, thank you very much for watching me, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye bye.